What's going on, everyone? So, per reports, this specific report is from Anthony Slater, but there's multiple reports stating that the Golden State Warriors are not expected to give Jonathan Kuminga a max extension. So, the Golden State Warriors are reportedly not interested in offering Jonathan Kuminga a max extension, again, per Anthony Slater. Also, followed up, the Warriors aren't currently prepared to give Kuminga a max extension like the 5-year, $224 million deal Franz Wagner got with the Orlando Magic that will start at 25% of the cap or anything that stretches too close to that $44.8 million annual salary, league sources say. The Warriors are messing around. Like, if you're not willing and you don't think Kuminga, who I understand he's young, I understand that there's a risk, I understand that he can be very inconsistent, but he is currently the closest thing the Warriors have to a star. Obviously, not counting Steph. I'm talking about like young guys, like players on the roster that could emerge and kind of take that next step. It's Kuminga, right? Jonathan Kuminga is the one guy that, for the future of this franchise, is the only guy that they currently have that realistically you could, in 2-3 years, look up and he's, a top 20 player in the league. And I don't think it'd be that crazy. I mean, he's 21 years old and he's already has put up games and stat lines and all that stuff. Good size, good athleticism, good foot speed, does a little bit of everything. Again, he needs better focus. He needs better consistency. There's a lot about Jonathan Kuminga that is questionable, right? But I mean, the Warriors got to pick a lane, is probably the best way to put it, right? If you don't believe in Jonathan Kuminga, which this isn't the first time that there's kind of been this word coming out of Golden State that they don't really seem to believe in Jonathan Kuminga, why wouldn't you just trade him for Lauri Markkanen then? Right? Like, you were willing to trade for Lauri Markkanen, but you deemed Pod and Kuminga untouchable. Right? Like, you didn't want to include them because you believe that they're the face in the future of this franchise. Okay, then pay the guy. Right? Like, the problem is the Warriors don't seem to have a clear direction in which they want to go. The Warriors don't seem to have a clear idea of, do we want to just rebuild this thing and hit the reset button and build around Kuminga, build around Pod, build around Trace Jackson and all the other young guys, Moody, all that. Trade Steph, right? Get as much as we can for Steph. Hey, where do you want to go, buddy? Thank you so much for being the friends. I don't even think Warrior fans would care, right? Obviously, it would suck, right? And even non-Warrior fans, right? Like, Steph is one of those guys. It'd be weird seeing him in another jersey, but it's at this point what's best for both sides. And I've talked about this before. And yes, there's all the talks and rumors and stuff about the Lakers, and Steph Curry potentially going to the Lakers and teaming up with LeBron. And Steph has kind of dropped little hints. LeBron said some stuff. And usually where there's smoke, there's fire. But even if it's not the Lakers, right? Like, obviously, if you're the Warriors, you want to sell them to the best package, right? To the highest bidder. But you also want to do right by Steph. And even if it is to the Lakers, like, you're going to get basically everything from the Lakers. But to me, it's just like, okay, you have Steph. You have this young core that you're very high on, that you don't want to trade, that you want to keep intact, but you don't want to pay any of them. And you don't want to trade any of them to go and get, a star or the pieces necessary to contend with Steph. So then what are you doing? Like, what are we doing here? What's the plan? What's the goal? What's the vision? It's like they're trying to operate on two different timelines, and it's not going to work. Either you're trading all your young guys and you're going for one last push and one last hoorah for Steph Curry, or you're using Steph and having a real honest conversation with him and going, hey, buddy, I think it's best in our interest that we try to get in as much as we possibly can. You're only getting older, right? we want to hit this reset button. Are you comfortable with that? Because maybe Steph's like, hey, you know what? Like, I don't care. Like, I don't want to leave the Warriors, right? If you do what you got to do, I don't want to leave the Warriors. But he might say what he said publicly, which is like he doesn't want to be on a bottom feeder. And he might say, like, I don't want to go through a rebuild, right? I'm only getting older, only got a couple years left. And I know people look at it, well, the Warriors just gave Steph a new contract, so therefore, he's sticking around. Not necessarily. If anything, there's a bigger argument that's more likely he is to be traded. Because what that extension did is it locked him in for an extra year. So any team that if Steph gets traded, it's probably not this year. It'll probably be next offseason, right? When Warriors are not a first apron team and they have like $40 million in cap space, and teams like the Lakers can clear cap space and potentially work out trades, especially other teams and whatnot, right? Like, chances are, if Steph gets traded, it is next offseason. And what Steph signing that new contract does is it ensures that if we'll just use the Lakers, if I'm the Lakers and I'm selling the farm to go get Steph, I don't want to do that for Steph for 1 year, and then he goes, I'm going to retire and call it a run. And it's like, okay, so we got one shot at this, right? Steph sign another deal ensures that you at least have 2 years, maybe longer, where you can kind of, because you might even need that first year to kind of just build out that team, build out that core around Steph, LeBron, and Anthony Davis, or anywhere Steph goes, right? Because, any team trading for Steph, you're going to have to give up a lot. Just to match salaries even, right? So, to me, there's that. It also gives the insurance to Steph, because again, he's older, right? He's had a little bit of an injury history last few years. He just played in the Olympics, played a big role, and now he's going to jump into a season, right? Like, if Steph wanted to essentially abolish any rumors and speculation, one, he could just do it with his words, but two, he would have signed the extension next offseason when he can't be traded now, right? Like, he could have lined it up to where it's like, okay, let me just put an end to these trade rumors. Right? Like, so again, just because he signed a new extension doesn't mean that, like, oh, that's it, he's there forever. But again, the Warriors need to pick a lane. You either view Jonathan Kuminga as your future, and you view Jonathan Kuminga as the key piece that you can build your franchise around with him, and again, Pod and Trace Jackson, all the young guys, right? All the young core. And these are the pieces that you look at going forward. You want to keep like a Draymond as like a vet guy to just kind of, build around. Fine, go ahead, whatever. Or you could trade him. A team like Detroit might actually give up something to go get him. But Steph, more than anything, you get whatever you want. Whether it's the Lakers or another team, just take as many young talent as possible, plus draft picks, all that stuff, and build around Kuminga. My issue is they all offseason, teams were trying to acquire and trade for Kuminga, and the Warriors were like, nope, he's untouchable, we're not trading him, right? They're not even willing to give him up for Lauri Markkanen. But now you're getting the reports that they also don't want to pay him. Like, if the reports came out and were like, hey, Jonathan Kuminga is expected to sign a max with the Warriors, then I'd be like, oh, yeah, okay. But that's not what happened here. So again, like, even your actions are just on two opposite sides. You're saying Kuminga's your future. Kuminga's the guy. That's our dude. Him and Potter, the two guys that we're building around. Okay, fine, that's great. You're going to have to pay them at some point, right? Like, and if you don't, some team is going to pay Kuminga. He's too young and too talented. The dude next season could be a 20-plus point a game guy. He was, 16 this past season? He's only going to get better. He's only going to improve, right? Again, he's 21 years old. He's young enough to have been drafted in this year's draft. All right? Like, you look at guys like Zach Edey and, sticking with the Lakers, Dalton Connect, right? Like, you got guys that are 3-4 years older than Kuminga that were drafted this past draft. So if you're the Warriors, like, you gotta make a decision. Pick a lane is my point, right? Maybe the Warriors kind of want to just use this year to kind of evaluate. Okay, hey, let's see what it is. Let's see what becomes available, right? Maybe there is that big name that becomes available, and we trade everybody, and now we got them and Steph. Sure, that could be a possibility. Or maybe they write out the year and they go, okay, let's see what Kuminga is. Does he kind of take a leap? Did these young guys take a leap? Okay, Steph, we're ready to move off of you. We'll trade you where you want to go. Good luck to you, type thing. I could potentially see that. I could see something like that happening. But at the end of the day, again, they gotta make a decision. They gotta pick a lane. It's crazy. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think, look, the Warriors are just kind of all over the place? Do you think that they should go the rebuild route? Do you think that they should go, go get another star with Steph and try to give him an opportunity to win another championship? Do you think they should just trade Steph, trade Kuminga? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out if you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.